Здорово, ребят, с вами Грани Гика, за камерой Паша Сюр, и я тут сгонял на Московский Сателлит. В этом году он был все так же хорош, много столов, относительно много игроков. Московский рекорд прошлого года победить не получилось, не говоря уже и про Питер. Покрашенные красивые столы, вода, воздух и место в Сокольниках, где никто не мешал. Просто сказка. Награды победителям в этом году тоже были добротные. Наборы с красками, токены, кубки. Забавно, что спонсором призов за второе и третье место была лавка Орка, а третье место по итогу занял представитель лавки Орка. Не справился с задачей не побеждать. Победителем стал чемпион всея Интерпланетарию Экзекьютор, что унес с собой весь модельный ряд одного из секториалов по своему выбору. Также теперь и Московский Сателлит посетил Гутьер, прекрасный человек, что ответственен за всю лоровую составляющую Infinity. Плюс он также частенько и плейтестит новинки. Гутьер давал шикарные автографы, что представляли собой небольшие сюжетные зарисовки, куда Гутьер вписывал ваше имя в качестве одного из персонажей Infinity. Кто-то был загадочным ассасином, которого искали спецслужбы, кто-то крутым хакером, что взламывал лев, и так далее. Мы с Кисой смогли похитить Гутьера и записать довольно большое и вот прям действительно интересное интервью. Думаю, вы пришли сюда именно ради него. Поэтому погнали!
Hello, my name is Kisa. I'm here with Gutier on our Russian satellite in Moscow 2020. So Gutier lovely decided to help us with the interview. So we have a question from you. So the first question for you, Gutier, is why the name of the company is Corvus Belli? Can you please answer this question?
Yeah, well, sorry. The company started in 2001 year, and at that moment they were composed only by three people. Fernando Liste, who now is the CEO of the company, Carlos Torres, who right now is the concept designer and also the chief of sculptors in the company, and Begoña, who is the sister of Fernando, and he's taking administrative matters in the company. But at some moment they were a very small company, only 3 people, and they started with a range of 15 millimeters models from an historical range. They started with Romans, with Celts and Iberians. As they started just with historical miniatures, they decided to take an historical name using Latin as a base. So they took Corvus Belli, which means a crow of war, because crows is a bird we have a lot in Galicia, in our region, and that it sounds nice and different. And also using Latin is important because Latin can be used in any country. It sounds it's not like using Spanish. No, and the intention of the company was to release models in an international market. Using an international name, it will be more interesting. And Latin is not used because sometimes it's difficult to find a name that cannot be used again by other companies or by other products. So that's the reason behind the name.
Pretty interesting history. So, as I understand you correctly, the first game of Corvus Belli was a historical based game, right?
Not exactly a game. They at that moment I was not in the company. As I joined to start with Infinity. They started only with models, not with a game. They started with as I said, that historical range, Romans, Celts. At some moment they moved to Middle Ages also. Fernando and Carlos, who are geeks like us, always like to release models in 28 millimeters, fantasy or other kind. So they started a fantasy range, releasing single models from fantasy run they have invented. At that moment, Rakan was very very powerful in the market. With confrontation, and they like a lot their designs, so they taking them as a base, and also taking a lot of the rings, and also Warhammer Fantasy. They release a short range of models, about 35 or 38 models. I don't remember, but without a game. And at some moment people say, okay, your fantasy models are nice, and we like it, but we will buy more if you had a game to play with them. And I say, okay, we need to have a game to sell more models, and that's when they started to create a game for the company. What happened? As I said, at that moment, Warhammer Fantasy, Lord of the Rings was very powerful. Confrontation. There were a lot of fantasy games, and they realized that science fiction has almost no games, because after all, 40K is not exactly science fiction.
Yes, it's more
fantasy in the future. Dark and gritty. So that's one of the things they found. And there is a hole we can feel in the market, and they contact Alberto Abal, who is one of the other partners of the company, and me to start with Infinity.
Really interesting story about how it started from confrontation and then back to sci-fi. Okay, another one question is why Infinity looks like anime? Why?
Yeah, that's the second reason behind we choose science fiction, because we realize that no science fiction. Real science fiction games in the market, but also the other games you can find were cyberpunk. But in Europe, anime, manga is likes a lot, and there was not any game reflecting that style. And we said, okay, we have found there is no science fiction games, there are no anime style games, so we can both together, and also. We all like and love Masamune Shiro's mangas and those. So we realized that after all is what people was expecting, that kind of game, and even considering Infinity as anime style manga is not so anime, because you cannot find big eyes and it's not plenty of cat girls. We have one, but not what the ranch is more militaristic. So we took anime as a style for the game, very cinematic, very quick, and also considering to make a style, create a universe which is brighter, and not, as I said, that dark and gritty environment you can find in 40K or in the cyberpunk game. So we try to separate from the other games that you can find in that moment in the market.
Thank you. Another one question is the Infinity is final and the first one name of this game, or you have a previous name? So. Some kind of option for the name of the game?
We make a long list of names to the game, and it was very funny because we made that list. Let's suppose during a week, both the four partners making their own list, then join all them together, choose after we only have 25 names to choose. Okay, not so much, only 25.
For example, which?
Let me. And that weekend, we have to make a travel to. We live in Spain, in the northwest of Spain, and we have to go to Sevilla. Sevilla is in the south of Spain. So that means around 10 or 11 hours driving. So during that travel, we were discussing about the names for the game, this one or this other one, Black Star, Time Out, that kind of names. And at some moment, our head was full of names. We were absolutely tired after having driving so many hours, discussing about the names, and someone said, Black Power. So, okay, Black Power, that's enough. That's enough. We are going to stop discuss the name. And when we arrive to Sevilla, we have a meeting with a guy who distributes Corvus Belli. he was interested to make some partnership with us, and we showed what we have at that moment for Infinity, what we have already made for Infinity, and he asked us, "And do you have a name?" And someone said, "Black Power," and the face of the guy was, "What?" Okay, no, it's a work in progress name. It's a work in progress name, not the definitive one. And after all, we make another round of, and Fernando suggests Infinity. Infinity was in the first round because I proposed it. Yeah, I liked Infinity as a name. I remember a comic series from DC. From the end of the 80s that was called Infinity Incorporated, and I remember that name and put in the list, but it was not accepted in the first round. And later, Fernando added Infinity again because he didn't remember to have seen Infinity in the list, because there was a brand of sails for windsurf. Fernando practiced windsurf when he was young, so he remembered that name from a brand of sails for the windsurf, and finally we choose Infinity because it was the most interesting for us, and it's even before that Black Power.
Yeah, Black Power. It's like Black Star.
Yeah.
While laughing with Pavel because Black Star in Russia it's
Bad rap organization.
bad rap organization. Yes, it's a singer and the Black Star. Yo. But it's not very good. So that's why we're like, oh, we can play Black Star Infinity. No, and we have Timothy Achilles. Okay, really shiny, interesting. His history. Okay, you already. Oh no. Another one question is, do you want to make some fantasy game based on Infinity, but as you answered previous, you would like to go in sci-fi, but maybe some kind of fantasy game. Is it possible from Corvus Belli or not?
Well, it's a long-term project for us. We always want to release a fantasy game because if you think about it, Corvus Belli has one game, Infinity, and also right now we have Aristea. And Defiance, but Defiance after all is a Kickstarter, and it is a closed project. Defiance is something that provides profit for us right now during this year, and that's all. It's not like Infinity or Aristea. We can keep releasing models and expansion for Aristea that still gives us profit. So it keeps to maintain the company. But Defiance is just a single project that we will release, and it's closed and finished, and we have to move to other games. So after all, a company like us, depending on one single game as Infinity, is too much for the game. So we need another game so the players can refresh themselves and not be only so focused on Infinity, because after all, even the most entertaining game, you get tired after having playing all this design. But if you have another option, and that other option came also from another company, you can choose. And okay, today I don't like to play Infinity, but I could play that other game from Corvus Belli. So you can still entertain, and we can still get your money, which is after all is what we like to do. Yeah. So. It's something the company needs to release another game at the same level of Infinity, at least a number of products, because Aristea is quite different game. It's a tabletop game, more focused on the games market and not in the miniature or war games. So it's different, and we need to release something like that. But it's very difficult because after all, to release Infinity requires 3 years working on that. And right now, even we have more personnel. We are so focused, and Infinity requires so many resources from the company that we don't find time enough to release. So, as we realize that fantasy game will need so much time, and we need to release other games, we decided to start with Aristea as a project. Okay, we start with Aristea. Maybe you can create a game system that can be used for that fantasy game, or maybe not. Because we have tried the Infinity system, and the Infinity system is okay for Infinity, but for fantasy it's not so good, because after all, the Infinity system has been created or conceived for a ballistic game, and fantasy games are not ballistic.
Yeah,
So
combat.
more close combat. So it's not so easy to adapt well for a fantasy game. So one of the intentions of Aristea was not only to create that game, but also create a a game mechanic for future games. As we have did with Defiance. Defiance is largely based on the Aristea system. So as I said, we have not still started to work in that fantasy game, but it's something that we have to do in a short time. But in any case, even we start with that fantasy game next month, that will require at least 2 years to be released to the market. And 2 years is supposed that we use a game system that works and we have not too many problems with the playtesting, and also when creating the design of the different factions or armies you can find in the game. So thinking about everything goes okay, perfectly nice, we need at least 2 years to release a game. It's more or less what needs a game, at least at the level of Infinity, to be released. Yeah. It's not so easy to release a game as people usually think.
I understand you correctly. Okay, as we touch in Aristea, so there is some question about Aristea. So, as you know, some people compare Shadow Spider with Aristea. So, how do you think it's correct or not correct? And another one question for you: do you take some ideas from Games Workshop when you work on Aristea, or you based on another game, or you just completely create a new mechanic by your own?
Well, I'm not going to say this is correct or not. We base or not in Shadow Spider. People have to realize one important thing: Shadow Spider and Aristea were released in the same year, almost in the same moment, maybe with some months of difference. As I said, to release a game it requires 2 years. With 2 months of difference, it's almost impossible to take things from Shadow Spider and add to Aristea. Games Workshop guys were working in their game. They're in Nottingham, in United Kingdom. We were working in Aristea in Cangas, in the north of Spain. No relationship, and we released the games at the same moment, but there was not connection. There's not any kind of feedback from one game to another, because I think Shadow Spider is not at the same level of Aristea. After all, I'm not objective, but I think Aristea goes beyond than Shadow Spider, and we don't take inspiration in Games Workshop games, because after all, we part from different positions than Games Workshop. Games Workshop is always focused on trying to get new players, more focused on teenagers, that kind of game. Of course, you can still play any Games Workshop game if you're older because you like it. But after all, when Games Workshop designs a game right now, it's always focusing on trying to get new players from a very young age. And Corvus Belli games, as Infinity or Aristea, always try to get a more veteran player. A player who probably has been playing war games from some years before.
Has an experience.
Yeah, that kind of experience. Even with Aristea, we try to move towards more, not exactly younger, but rookies or novice in tabletop games. But after all, to mastering Aristea, you need to have some experience. So as I said, we part from different positions for us as Games Workshop. So we don't get too much inspiration in what Games Workshop did, because it will be not really smart from us. Why? Because everybody looks to Games Workshop and copy Games Workshop. If you want to make something different, you have to separate almost totally from Games Workshop. Of course, we take a look because it's important to know what the competence is doing, but not copy them is not smart for us as a company, especially as a small company than them.
I get you. I get your answer. I think the same, but now we have the improvement.
Yeah.
Okay. So another one question: do you play some other war games? If yes, what kind of war games? Not only war games, but maybe some tabletop games.
And one of the one of the problems with this job I have, apart of the salary, is the hobby is no longer a hobby for me. Every time I approach to a game, I start in working mode and read the rules, and this is interesting, this is not well done, this is well written, I can use it. No, this is never happen, this will never be successful in Infinity or not, and we cannot use that in Aristea. It's very difficult to me to disconnect, so I cannot approach to a game as a hobby. Right now for me it's a job, so I cannot say that I play games, I just play test. It happens with Infinity. I don't play Infinity, I just play test Infinity. So I don't play Infinity for fun. I still like Infinity and like it very much, but the problem is for me it's not useful to disconnect from the job, and a hobby requires to be really entertained, and to work as a hobby it requires to disconnect from the job. So I cannot say that I play games because I don't play games, and just try and play test them.
So there is no thing but play test them.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a pity. I don't want to go to work in some company who's creating games because I will not have fun from games. Okay.
It's not exactly I don't have fun, but when you have a hobby, that hobby provides you entertainment and fun, but also helps you to have a rest from your daily life. As I said, playing games could be entertainment for me, and I can have fun, but as I'm not able to disconnect from my job, I don't have a rest. So I finally end tired. More tired than if I was reading a book, or watching a movie, or just hanging around with my friends. So if I have to choose what I can do as a hobby, I prefer to do other things as a hobby, because after all I can still, and that's the good side of this job, I play games in my yeah.
So another question. So if you are not playing some tabletop games and war games as a hobby, do you have some kind of hobby? If yes, so what kind of it?
Right now I'm a reader. I love to read books and comics. I always reading books, comics, and also I do it also for work, because I'm constantly taking notes when I'm watching a movie, watching a TV series, reading a book, reading a comic book. No matter, I always taking notes because I can use that idea for Infinity, or sometimes no. But it's important for me as a writer to have sources of inspiration. So for me, it's very important. And right now I have not too much free time, so I try to focus more on that games. And at some moment I practice winter sports. I ski. I practice ski, yeah, but right now I have no time, and my wife doesn't like too much to ski, so you know how it is. Yes, so there are a lot of times since I put my skis and try to go down a mountain. But as I said, I'm a reader. I'm mostly a reader, and that's.
Another one question: why you make Shashvasti looks like human? So, for example, in the second edition there was Ekrar or Exarch, some kind of Kaskuda, some void operators. So they looks different, not like humans. And then you remake Shashvasti, and now they look like humans. Yes, some kind of piece of their body is not a human body; it's more alien body, but they have 2 hands, 2 legs, and 1 hand. Or one hand, one head.
One head, yeah.
So, why? It's some kind of marketing, or there was another problem?
Well, first of all, Shashvasti, because the vector operators and the extra were not Shashvasti, they were a different race, and we have some problems with them because the sculptors doesn't know how to work with that kind of bodies. The body mechanic is more difficult when you are not using human anatomy, because sculptors are used to human anatomy. So at the moment you are using a different anatomy, sculptors start to have some problems with that. And at some moment we only have traditional sculpt. 3D modeling still was not available at that moment. I'm talking about the year 2006, 2007, 2008, no 3D modeling available for us. So we make some tries with extra and doesn't work fine. So we decide to remove them from our catalog. And the Sesbasti was already very similar to the current Sesbasti, because one head, two arms, two legs, very sleek, maybe more coated. But and when Carlos Torres, the concept designer, have to approach again to Sesbasti, he was not sure how way to take with them, and say, okay, Carlos, it's very easy. You just take a look to the sales and realize what people likes or more from Sesbasti. Noctifors, shrouded, that kind of stuff, with the cloaks or coats or long robes, that kind of thing. So Carlos said, okay, I finally have an idea. And even you said that, but right now the Sesbasti has even more alien face than before.
Yes,
they have that kind of mouth very similar to Predator. Yeah, so Carlos Torres moved to separate it maybe a little bit more from sci-fi and move to the terror movies. So make a creature rather than an alien.
They are looking like predators now.
Yeah. That's the intention, to make a creature rather than an alien. And the Sphinx, after all, we work in a different way as at the beginning, right? We create a model base for a faction and start adding things to create a superior level. So we start with a light infantry, adding more stuff. You have a medium infantry. From that medium infantry, you can still work with the heavy infantry. And when you create the heavy infantry, you already have a base to create the tag. So after creating the heavy infantry for the Sesbasti, Carlos Torres has a base to create the tag. What happens with the Cascuda? The Cascuda was a very expensive project for us, because it requires a lot of hours to sculpt it. Sorry.
But it was really miniature.
Yeah, but it was very expensive, and people don't really. The sales were not good with it, so we prefer to remove from the catalog, because we are not getting really profit from it. So it was preferable to remove. And when approaching to the Sphinx, we realized that after all, people prefer human. I always say, aliens will be different, but the player needs to identify with the model. After all, it's his representation on the table. So the more similar that the model be to the player, the better will be. So that's the reason why the tags are all usually more humanistic, rather human shape. Sorry. Than before, because we have realized that it's what at the bottom is what people prefer.
После этого вопроса Гутьера у нас украли и позадавали кучу каверзных вопросов по 4-й редакции на его презентации. Но об этом, я думаю, вы уже все в курсе. Вторая часть интервью выйдет чуть попозже. А пока вы всегда можете подписаться на канал, влепить лайк, сделать репост видео, подписаться на группу ВКонтакте и, возможно, поддержать канал на Патреоне. Все, всем пока-пока. Ну и, конечно, отдельная благодарность всем тем, кто поддерживает меня на Патреоне. А именно, Фидель Пиночетов, Игорь Козлов, Артем Seven Red, Алкан Эгейн, Артем Арт Демиденко, Дмитрий Бабин, Влад Призрак Иванов, Петр Джучи Звягинцев, Евгений Мурул Сафронов, Волбер, Тираэль Ворм, Алексей Герч Гордеев, Анатолий Джокер Коновалов, Марсель Джакомо Батыршин, Андрей Родя Родионов, Василий Сигват Трыков, Костя Озерный Хенч, Константин Гиллер Поляков, Павел Кузнецов, Влад Кузьмин и, конечно, Его Величество Юрий Дивайн Александров. Спасибо большущее.